Hi, in this video we are going to be going over some of FeatureCam's basic operations, more specifically the creation of a new file setup and setting that up for a milling operation. So when you first open FeatureCam, you're going to get a box like this. It's going to ask you to either open up a new file or open up an existing file. Here we're going to go through the new file. If you have a file created already, you can go ahead and open an existing file and go through those steps. Odds are you've already went through this process if you're opening up an existing file. So make sure your radio button is clicked for new file and hit next. And this is where you're going to tell FeatureCam what kind of operation you're going to be working with. You can choose turn mill and milling setup are the two most common ones in my shop. So we're going to do a milling setup today. So click on milling setup, and down here at the bottom you can see unit of measure, whether we're working in inches or millimeters. That's depending on your shop. In my shop we are working in inches, so we want to make sure inches is selected and hit finish. Once we hit finish, FeatureCam will open up the file, and then it's going to ask you some questions about the stock itself. This first box that you'll see is the stock shape and size. At the top you have block, round, and if you have like a polygon shaped stock. Most often we are working with block, and then you have a length, width, and thickness you need to put in for the stock size. And this is the stock size. This isn't finished part size. This is the piece of material that you're working with. So make sure you enter in these measurements correctly. Let's say we're working with a 4 by 5 by 2 inch piece of material. So you can see I chose 4 inches for my width, 5 for my length, and 2 for my thickness. That's my setup, length, height, width. Got that done, I can hit next. This is where I choose the type of material that my stock is made from. This will essentially allow FeatureCam to determine the feeds and speeds per the tool that you choose for your operation. Lots of different types of materials in here, from stainless to steel to tool steel to zinc. Just about any common type of material that you can mill on is listed in this library. We're going to choose aluminum today. If you had a new material that FeatureCam didn't have listed, you can create your new material through the new material wizard, but you're going to have feeds and speeds to be able to plug in so that FeatureCam can calculate feeds and speeds for you based on that material. Aluminum, and everything's set for us already, so we can go ahead and hit next. Now it's asking if we're going to do any multi-axis milling. In this particular case, we are not. We're going to do 3-axis milling. If you had the capability to do 4th or 5th axis milling, FeatureCam allows you to do that. You just simply choose what type of milling you're going to do. And if you're doing a 4th axis, you want to make sure you know which axis that your 4th axis is rotating about. Normally it's your X, but that's not the case every single time. So we're going to hit no because we're just doing standard 3-axis milling, and then we can hit next. Setup, you can make multiple setups in a FeatureCam file. Typically when you're doing a 3-axis milling job, you're only going to have one setup, but when you have multiple axes, especially when you're doing 4th axis work with multiple faces, you're going to have multiple setups for each one of those faces. In this case, one setup, so I'm going to leave all this default. I could name this video trial just to give it a more accurate name, and then the part name, widget. Hit next. Then you have your part program 0. Part program 0 is where your origin is going to be, your 0, 0, 0. That's where your UCS, user coordinate system, is going to be located. In my shop we have the vices set up to where we have our program on the mill set up at 0, 0 at the top left corner of our vise. So we are going to set our UCS up on the top left corner of our part. So I'm going to choose Align to Stock Face, and I'm going to make sure this is at top, and I'm going to click the little hand that's pointing to the upper left hand corner. You can check any one of these if you want to do it any differently. If you're using My Machines, you want to choose upper left hand corner, and you can see there is now a blue UCS in the location of the upper left hand corner. That is a new UCS. You can again move that around if you want to, and you can see the blue UCS moving to where you're clicking, but again, we are using the upper left hand corner. Once you have that set, you can hit next, and here you have program offsets. So you can offset the UCS, your coordinate system, off while still keeping 0, 0, 0 at the same place. Normally I don't mess with this unless I'm doing a wide stock piece of stock and I want to try to put that in the vise evenly. I'll use an offset, and just to show you what the offset will do, I'll put in like a 3-inch offset in the X. You can see it'll shift the stock 3 inches to the left. Shift the stock, move the UCS, same thing. But we're going to use 0 here, put it back on the corner, hit next. I should say the big thing with your part offset is if I did move this 3 inches to the left, this point on my stock, I want to make sure that matches up with the upper left hand corner of the vise. Because when that machine comes down at 0, 0, it's going to be on the upper left hand corner of the vise. The program thinks that new UCS point right here is 0, 0. So those 2 points in real life need to match up. It's a lot easier to keep it in the corner because the corner is easier to match up with the corner of the vise. Again, we're not going to set up any simulation information, so we're just going to hit finish. It brings up this box just to kind of confirm everything. Just say, hey, this is what you did. 4 by 5 by 2. It's aluminum. Here's your hardness. Here's your offsets if you chose any, and here's the indexing if you have any indexing. Normally, if you set up everything right, you don't have to mess with this. You hit OK, and now you are ready to start importing drawings or drawing geometry yourself, creating curves, creating features. If you notice that there's something wrong with your part and you need to change either the UCS or the stock size or the material, you can come back over to the left-hand corner, left-hand side of your screen. You'll see stock. If you click the button next to stock, it opens up that same dialog box that we just went through. And you can go through here and change anything that you happen to miss. Hit finish. Same screen. Hit OK again. Now you're ready to go. So that was a quick overview on how to set up stock in FeatureCam, making sure you have your right stock size, stock material. Very crucial to get the right placement of your UCS, because all your drawings, all your features are going to be based off that UCS, and that UCS needs to coordinate to the UCS in the mill, and just make sure everything is correct. Alright, thank you.